Hello, and welcome to Mastermind with me, Clive Myrie. In the spotlight tonight are Tom Lee, a supply chain manager whose specialist subject is the BBC police drama series Line of Duty. Louisa Radice, an energy analyst who will be answering questions on the Victorian art movement, the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. John Ball, a retired university lecturer whose subject is the Rebecca Riots that took place in rural 19th century Wales, and Shanine Salmon, an assessment coordinator, her subject, gin. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Answer 2 minutes of questions on your chosen specialist subject and 2.5 minutes on general knowledge, but add the ticking clock, the spotlight and the black chair. And all of a sudden, all that was simple is anything but. At stake, a place in the semi-finals and ultimately the chance to be crowned Mastermind champion. So, who will it be? Let's ask our first contender to join us, please. And your name?
Tom Lee.
Your occupation?
Supply chain manager.
And your specialist subject?
Line of Duty.
Yes, the television drama series which follows Superintendent Ted Hastings and the detectives Kate Fleming and Steve Arnott of the Police Anti-Corruption Unit AC-12. In 2 minutes, let's go. Before production moved to Belfast for Series 2 onwards, Series 1 of Line of Duty was filmed in which other UK city?
Birmingham.
Yes, which senior detective under investigation by AC-12 in Series 1 warned Steve Arnott, "You take a shot at the king, make sure you kill him, son."
Tony Gates.
Yes, in Series 2, the criminal gang leader Tommy Hunter is a protected witness using what alias?
Alexander Campbell.
Yes, in Series 2 and 3, what golfing nickname is given to the corrupt police officer working for organised crime groups who is initially wrongly identified as the vice officer Jeremy Cole?
The Caddy.
Yes, what's the name of the fictional prison where DI Lindsay Denton is remanded after she's charged with conspiracy to murder in Series 2, and where DCI Joe Davidson is held while under suspicion of corruption in Series 6?
Brentice.
Yes, what's the name of the senior police officer warned by Hastings not to blow Kate Fleming's cover on DCI Huntley's team in Series 4 after he recognises her from an earlier case?
Ian Buckles.
Yes, in Series 4, AC-12 investigates DCI Ros Huntley's suspected mishandling of a high-profile murder case that has what operational codename?
Trapdoor.
Yes, the acronym CHIS, spelt C-H-I-S, is used in the show to mean a police informant, such as Alistair Oldroyd in Series 6. What does the letter C stand for in this term?
Covert.
Yes, which police constable is the criminal gang member Ryan Pilkington referring to during his interview to join the force in Series 5 when he says, "He's the reason why I wanted to become a police officer too"?
Simon Banerjee.
Yes, in Series 6, what's the name of the victim in the historic murder case that the journalist Gail Vella had been investigating in connection with police corruption?
Christopher Lawrence.
No, Lawrence Christopher. The key clue in the search for the so-called fourth man, or H, whose identity is revealed in the final episode of Series 6, is the repeated misspelling of what word?
Definitely.
Yes, what code word does Hastings use when he orders Arnott to shoot the rogue undercover officer John Corbett in Series 5?
Fahrenheit.
Yes, what's the name of... I've started, so I'll finish. What's the name of the Canadian musician who composed the theme music for the series and who cites the opening music from the television series The X-Files as a major influence on her work?
Carly Paradis.
Yes, Carly Paradis. And Tom, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you scored 12 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. Your name?
Louisa Radice.
Your occupation?
Energy analyst.
And your chosen specialist subject?
The Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood.
The Victorian art movement which reacted against the prevailing styles of the era. In 2 minutes, let's go. In September 1848, the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood held its first meeting in the house on Gower Street in London that was the family home of which of the 7 founder members?
John Everett Millais.
Yes, Frederick George Stevens, another member of the Brotherhood, was the model for the central figure in which Millais painting of 1849, inspired by Shakespeare's The Tempest.
Prospero.
No, Ferdinand Lured by Ariel. Which German Romantic art movement, originally formed as the Brotherhood of St. Luke in 1809, was one of the inspirations for the founding of the Brotherhood?
The Nazarenes.
Yes, Christina Rossetti was the model for the Virgin Mary in two of her brother Dante Gabriel's early paintings, The Girlhood of Mary Virgin and which other?
Ecce Ancilla Domini.
Yes, on his marriage in 1874, William Michael Rossetti became the son-in-law of which other artist who, while not officially a member of the Brotherhood, became associated with its principles?
Ford Madox Brown.
Yes, which Millet painting features his young sisters-in-law, Alice and Sophie, along with two local girls in the garden of Anat Lodge in Perthshire?
Summer Green.
No, Autumn Leaves. Thomas Woolner's memorial to William Wordsworth was erected in 1851 in a church in Grasmere, dedicated to which saint?
Oswald.
Yes. Millet commented that he hoped it would not have any bad effects on her mind when Queen Victoria requested a private viewing of which of his paintings after she'd read adverse criticism of it and wanted to see it for herself.
Christ in the house of his parents.
Yes, in the late 1850s, Frederick Stevens attempted to destroy all his pictures, which unfinished painting, influenced by the Crimean War, is one of the few that survive.
Boccaccio.
No, Mother and Child. James Collinson's painting The Empty Purse in the collection of the Tate is a replica of which of his works, a companion piece of To Let?
Lost.
No, For Sale. Which William Holman Hunt painting was so popular that his fellow artist, Wyke Bayliss, observed in 1898 that there is scarcely a home in England which does not possess it in some form as an etching or an engraving.
The Light of the World.
Yes, it is the light of the world. And Louisa, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've scored 7 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. And your name?
John Ball,
Your occupation?
retired university lecturer.
And your specialist subject?
The Rebecca Riots.
Yes, the 19th century protest by tenant farmers in parts of Wales against the payment of road tolls. In 2 minutes, let's go. The toll gate at Ifaelwyn in Carmarthenshire, which was attacked and destroyed in the first of the Rebecca Riots on the 13th of May, 1839, was operated by which toll farmer?
Thomas Bullin.
Yes, a common cause of discontent among farmers was the high toll fees incurred in the transportation by cart of what substance used at the time as a fertiliser?
Lime.
Yes, what name is given to the traditional form of Welsh mob justice characterised by the practice adopted by the rioters of darkening faces and wearing women's clothing?
The Rebecca Riots.
No, Ceffyl Pren.
Oh,
The name adopted by the rioters was inspired by a biblical verse in which Rebecca is told, "Let thy seed possess the gate of those which hate them." It comes from which book of the Bible?
Genesis 60, verse 24.
Genesis will do, yes. Riots stopped in late 1839, but a new wave began on the 18th of November 1842 when the toll gate at the Mermaid and a toll bar over the River Taff were destroyed, as well as a toll gate in which village?
Pustrap.
Yes, a letter published in the name of Rebecca on the 16th of December 1842 said it was a shameful thing for Welshmen to be ruled by the sons of which legendary figure?
Hengist.
Yes, after special constables failed to stop the riots, local magistrates appealed to the Home Office for troops and in December 1842 were sent 3 metropolitan policemen, including which Welsh-speaking inspector?
Inspector Martin.
Yes. Violence spread to the town of Carmarthen on the 26th of May 1843 when around 300 rioters destroyed which one of the town's toll gates?
The Water Street Gate.
Yes, when the workhouse in Carmarthen was attacked in June 1843 after a protest march to the Guildhall, nearly 100 protesters were taken prisoner by troops commanded by which major?
Polby.
Yes. In which village did rioters burn down a toll house on the 9th of September 1843 and kill its 75-year-old gatekeeper, Sarah William?
Hendy.
Yes, in the late summer of 1843, public meetings began to replace nighttime attacks. As a means of protest, several were addressed by Hugh Williams, a leading figure in which movement for political reform?
Chartism.
Yes, it was Chartism. And John, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've scored 10 points.
Thank you.
And our final contender, please. Your name?
Shanine Salmon,
Your occupation?
assessment coordinator.
And your specialist subject?
Gin.
The distilled alcoholic drink dating back to the 12th century. In 2 minutes, Let's go. In order for a spirit to be labelled as gin, the principal flavour must come from which botanical?
Juniper.
Yes, the Bowles family, who were one of the first distillers of Geneva. The juniper-based spirit from which gin originated opened their distillery in 1575. In which city?
Schiedam.
No, Amsterdam. In the 1730s, which illegal gin seller nailed a wooden sign of a cat over the window of a rented house on Blue Anchor Alley in London and served customers through a hidden pipe under the cat's paw?
Bradstreet.
Yes. Which English novelist and magistrate wrote the 1751 pamphlet, An Inquiry into the Causes of the Late Increase in Robbers, in which he deplores the effects on the poor of London of that poison called gin?
Fielding.
Yes, Henry Fielding. The first mention of the Vesper cocktail is in Ian Fleming's novel Casino Royale, in which James Bond tells a bartender to make it with which gin, adding, shake it very well till it's ice cold.
Gordon's.
Yes, what's the name of the master distiller for Bombay Sapphire, who in 2019 was sworn in as the Grand Rectifier or head of the Gin Guild, the first woman to hold the post?
Smith.
No, it was Dr. Anne Brock. What sweet, heavily flavoured style of gin, popular in the 18th century, is often considered to be a bridge between the Dutch Geneva and London dry styles?
Old Tom.
Yes, what was the name of the architect who, in the late 1820s, redesigned the premises of Thompson and Fearson on Holborn Hill in London to create what was probably the first so-called gin palace or ornately decorated public house?
Thompson.
No, John B. Papworth. In 1638, the Worshipful Company of Distillers was set up by Thomas Caedmon and which other royal physician?
De Maillard.
No, Théâtre de Mayenne. Hair no, right gin and Spirit of Vein are the names of gins made in which country?
America.
No, Sweden. The root of which plant of the Apiaceae family is said to be the third most common botanical used in gin making after juniper and coriander and adds a dry, woody flavour?
Angelica root.
Yes, what was the name of the Whig MP, I've started so I'll finish, and Master of the Rolls who drafted the 1736 Gin Act, one of several pieces of legislation intended to reduce the consumption of gin?
Davis.
No, Sir Joseph Jekyll. And at the end of that round, you had no passes, and you've scored 6 points.
Thank you.
And at the end of the specialist subjects round, let's have a look at the scores. In fourth place with 6 points, it's Shanine. In third place with 7 points, Louisa. Second place is taken by John on 10 points. And in first place with 12 points, it's Tom. So now, the general knowledge round, and if there's a tie at the end, then the number of passes is taken into account, and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they're tied on passes as well, then it's a tie break. So let's ask Shanine to join us again. So Shanine, you start with 6 points. You've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Starting now, scarlet, crimson and carmine are shades of which primary colour?
Red.
Yes, the UK hit single I'll Be There For You by the American duo The Rembrandts is the theme song for which television comedy series first broadcast in 1994?
Friends.
Yes, in geometry, which solid figure is formed of a base with 3 or more sides and triangular faces that meet at the top?
Pyramid.
Yes, the American singer Lauryn Hill, whose 1998 album The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill reached #2 in the UK, was previously a member of which chart-topping hip-hop group?
The Fugees.
Yes, during his time in the House of Commons and later the House of Lords, which MP has been accompanied by guide dogs named Cosby, Sadie and Lucy, among others?
Blunkett.
Yes, David Blunkett. Which planet in our solar system has a diameter of about 3,030 miles, making it slightly larger than Earth's moon?
Mars.
No, Mercury. What's the name of the British director, actress and writer who won a Best Original Screenplay Oscar for the 2020 film Promising Young Woman?
Fennel.
Yes, Emerald Fennell. What name is given to the fortified towers built around the coast of the British Isles in the early 19th century to guard against a possible French invasion?
Pass.
What was the name of the German fashion designer nicknamed Kaiser Karl, who died in 2019?
Lagerfeld.
Yes, what 12-volume series by Anthony Pohl includes the novels Casanova's Chinese Restaurant, A Buyer's Market, and Books Do Furnish a Room?
A Dance to the Music of Time.
Yes, which motorway has service stations called Chivoli, Lee Delamere, and Magor?
M3.
No, the M4. The ITTF is the governing body of which indoor Olympic sports?
Track and field?
No, table tennis. Flemington, Royal Randwick and Morfettville are horse racing courses in which Commonwealth country?
India?
No, Australia. What word derived from the Latin for fat is used to describe the fatty body tissue that provides insulation and acts as an energy reserve?
Lipid?
No, adipose. The man-made lake created by the Aswan High Dam on the River Nile straddles the Egypt-Sudan border, with the Egyptian part of the lake being known by what name after a former president of the country?
Amel?
No, Lake Nasser. Which notorious French nobleman and author wrote the 1791 erotic novel Justine?
De Sade?
Yes, Marquis de Sade. What suffix meaning of the king was added to the name of the Dorset town of Lyme in the late 13th century?
Regis?
Yes. And your time is up. Shanine, you had one pass. The name given to the fortified towers built around the coast of the British Isles, it's Martello Towers. And at the end of that round, you now have 16 points.
Thank you.
And time for Louisa again. Louisa, you start with 7 points. The score to beat, as it stands, is 16 points, and you've got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Starting now, a controversy or fuss over something that doesn't matter is sometimes referred to as a storm in a what?
Teacup.
Yes, which presenter began his television career in the 1980s on children's programs such as Going Live and went on to host shows including The Cube and Dancing on Ice?
Philip Schofield.
Yes, which month is said to be named after the Roman goddess of marriage?
June.
Yes, at the Academy Awards ceremony in 2021, Chloe Zhao became only the second woman to win an Oscar for Best Director for what film?
The Paradise Lawn.
No, Nomadland. The name of what metric unit of area, often abbreviated to the letters HA, is ultimately derived from the Greek for 100.
Hectare.
Yes, what UK hit single by the American group the B-52s features in its lyrics a giant clam, a manta ray, a catfish and a piranha?
Rock Lobster.
Yes, from 1993 to 2008, Annika Sorenstam from Sweden won 10 major championships in which sport?
Tennis.
No, golf. The 1915 war poem In Flanders Fields by John McCrae refers in its opening lines to what flowers that blow between the crosses row on row?
Poppies.
Yes, which philosopher, theologian and doctor who won the 1952 Nobel Peace Prize built and ran a hospital in Gabon, as well as being an accomplished organist and an authority on the music of Johann Sebastian Bach?
Schweitzer.
Yes, Albert Schweitzer. The name of which spirit is derived from the Dutch for burnt wine?
Brandy.
Yes, Baffin Bay and the Davis Straits separate Greenland from which country?
Canada.
Yes, what was the name of the oceanographic research ship commanded by Jacques Cousteau, which sank off Singapore in 1996?
Challenger.
No, the Calypso. The adjective cutaneous, derived from the Latin word cutis, means relating to what tissue of the human body?
Skin.
Yes, which ruined ancient city of Mesopotamia in modern-day Iraq was excavated in 1922 by a team led by the British archaeologist Sir Leonard Woolley?
Babylon.
No, In the Eagle comic strip starring Dan Dare, what was the name of Dan's mortal enemy, the ruler of the Treens?
Ming the Merciless.
No, the Mekong. The Smilodon, an extinct prehistoric member of the cat family, is better known by what name?
Saber-toothed tiger.
Yes, the organisation that's based at Lord's Cricket Ground and has main responsibility for the laws of the game is known by the initials MCC. What do these letters stand for?
Middlesex Cricket Club.
No, Marylebone Cricket Club. Which Irish actress and singer who rose to fame as the runner-up in the BBC talent show I'd Do Anything is known for her roles in the 2019 television series Chernobyl and the 2020 film I'm Thinking of Ending Things?
Jodie Preminger.
No, Jessie Buckley. And Louisa, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you now have a total of 18 points.
Thank you.
And next up, let's have John. John, you start with 10 points. The score to beat, as it stands, is 18 points, and you've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Here we go. The government department, often referred to as the MOD, is the Ministry of what?
Defence.
Yes. Which 1911 children's book by J.M. Barrie opens with the line, all children except one grow up?
Peter Pan.
Yes, which American rapper had a UK hit album in 2019 with a gospel-influenced release entitled Jesus is King?
Stormzy.
No, Kanye West. What decimal number is written in binary notation as 100?
2.
No, 4. The dramatist Sheila Delaney is best known for what play written while she was a teenager and first performed in the late 1950s?
Girl in School. No
A
idea.
Taste of Honey. Which German footballer was the first man both to captain and manage a FIFA World Cup winning team, which he did in 1974 and 1990?
Heinz.
No, Franz Beckenbauer. The International Slavery Museum opened in 2007 in which city in northwest England?
Newcastle.
No, Liverpool. What name from a Latin word for a hooded cape is given to the stiff square cap worn by Roman Catholic clergy, which can be red, black or purple, according to the rank of the wearer?
Holy Hat.
No, it's a biretta. Which former Labour Prime Minister was the MP for Kirkcaldy and Cowdenbeath from 2005 to 2015?
Gordon Brown.
Yes, in what 1939 film was the colour of the slippers worn by the main character changed from silver, as described in the original book, to ruby, in order to showcase the new Technicolor technology?
Red.
No, The Wizard of Oz. During which long battle of 1916 did the defenders of a fortress in northern France adopt the maxim of General Robert Nivelle, usually translated as "they shall not pass"?
The Maginot Line.
No, the Battle of Verdun. What's the denomination of the seven-sided UK decimal coin first issued by the Royal Mint in 1969?
50 pence.
Yes, which 19th century explorer translated the Kama Sutra, the Arabian Nights and the Perfumed Garden into English?
Thomas Williams.
No, Sir Richard Burton. What's the English name for the variety of pizza known as Quattro Stagioni?
4 flavours.
No, 4 Seasons. What's the first name of the singer Ozzy Osbourne's wife who managed his career and went on to be a judge on various television talent shows?
June.
No, Sharon. The Romanian port of Constanța and the Bulgarian resort of Sunny Beach stand on the shore of which inland sea?
Caspian.
No, the Black Sea. What's the name of the purple or violet variety of quartz? I've started, so I'll finish. Of quartz, that's the birthstone for February.
Beryl.
Oh, it's amethyst. And John, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you now have a total of 14 points. And finally, let's have Tom again, please. So, Tom, you start with 12 points to score to beat to get through to the semi-finals. Is Louisa's 18 points? You've now got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Starting now. What's the usual word for a female sibling?
Could you repeat that, sorry?
What's the usual word for a female sibling?
Pass.
Which famous island in San Francisco Bay is known informally as The Rock?
Alcatraz.
Yes. What was the surname of the controversial leader of the National Union of Mine Workers who was known to his supporters as King Arthur?
Scargill.
Yes. What 2018 film stars Sandra Bullock as the leader of a criminal gang who plots to steal a valuable necklace from an actress at a major fashion event in New York?
Ocean's 8.
Yes. What's the name of the high-security psychiatric hospital just outside the village of Crowthorne near Reading in Berkshire?
Blackthorn.
No, Broadmoor. Greg Heffley is the title character of a best-selling series of children's books by the American author Jeff Kinney, the first of which, published in 2007, is entitled The Diary of a what?
Wimpy Kid.
Yes, which boy band had UK #1 albums in the 1990s entitled Everything Changes and Nobody Else?
Take That.
Yes, in February 2020, the former chief executive of Ofcom, Sharon White, took up the chair position at which major retail chain?
John Lewis.
Yes, the animal life of a particular area is known as its fauna. What's the corresponding term for an area's plant life?
Flora.
Yes, what name is given to the measuring instrument with 2 legs, often resembling a pair of compasses used to measure the internal or external dimensions of objects?
Theodolite.
No, calipers. Which Asian country underwent a period of rapid modernization under the rule of its emperor Meiji from 1867 to 1912?
Thailand.
No, Japan. Which major European river flows through the cities of Basel, Strasbourg and Cologne?
Danube.
No, the Rhine. Christopher Reeve, Brandon Routh and Henry Cavill have all played which comic book superhero in feature film?
Superman.
Yes, which round-the-world yachtsman was knighted by the Queen in 1967, reportedly using a sword once owned by Sir Francis Drake?
Ellen MacArthur.
No, Francis Chichester. Which American politician was murdered in the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles on the 5th of June 1968, almost 5 years after the assassination of his brother?
Robert Kennedy.
Yes, the explosive trinitrotoluene is commonly known by what three-letter abbreviation?
TNT.
Yes, the early novels of which writer who was born in New York but lived mainly in Europe from 1869 onward include Roderick Hudson and The American?
Jonathan Swift.
No, it was Henry James. You had one pass. I know you know this one. It's the black chair, it's the pressure, it's the nerves. What's the usual word for a female sibling?
Oh, sister.
And at the end of that round, Tom, you now have 22 points.
Thank you.
So let's have a look at the final scores. In fourth place with 14 points is John. In third place with 16 points, Shanine. In second place with 18 points comes Louisa. And in first place with 22 points, it's Tom, which means that he goes through to the semi-finals. Congratulations to him. Now, if you would like to be a contender in the next series, please go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind. And you can follow us, of course, at Mastermind Quiz. Join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
I've been a fan of Line of Duty since 2012, and I went through the entire series, watched them all again, went through all the cast lists and directors and all sorts of things like that. And I was getting quizzed out by my friends last weekend, and they said, you know, who wrote the theme music? I said, that'll never come up, don't be ridiculous.
What's the name of the Canadian musician who composed the theme music for the series and who cites the opening music from the television series, The X-Files, as a major influence on her work?
Carly Paradis.
Yes.
He said, well, give us some credit if it does come up, so there we go. They do get a tiny bit of credit.
So, Tom, you start with 12 points to score to beat to get through to the semi-finals. Is Louisa's 18 points?
I absolutely did not feel more relaxed going into the general knowledge round. I had no idea what was going to come up. My only aim when I came here today was not to embarrass myself, and I've successfully achieved that. Scargill.
Yes.
John Lewis.
Yes.
TNT.
Yes.
Crack on and see if we can do the same again in the semi-finals.